What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Today, I'd like to cover another island language. Of course, since this is mainly California indigenous languages, we're going to talk about the Catalineño language, or the indigenous language of Catalina Island. This comes off the back of just being curious about all the other islands of California and what's known about their languages. So, unfortunately, the Southern Channel Islands, which includes Catalina Island, San Clemente Island, and San Nicolas Island, I believe also Santa Barbara Island. Not much is known about the Southern Channel Islands, and their languages. Pretty much, if you watched my video about the Nicoleño language and the lone woman of San Nicolas Island, you would notice that there's one or two songs that are recorded by John P. Harrington, and also 5 words, I believe, um, of her language. And it's just kind of a guess at this point about, which is it close to? Is it close to, the Luiseño language, or is it close to the Tongva or Gabrielino language, and things like that. So we're going to have that same conversation here, but about the language of Catalina Island. So what do we know about it? There's very little information on the language of Catalina Island. And what we do know about it comes from that were of Catalina Island descent, or that spoke the Gabrielino language when research was being done by John P. Harrington in the early 1900s. So what we know is that it was similar to the Gabrielino or Tongva language of the mainland. And for those that don't know, Gabrielino and Tongva, they were a indigenous group, mainly of the Los Angeles County area, but they went also into Orange County and Riverside and San Bernardino counties as well. And their language was mainly recorded by John P. Harrington. And one of his informants, Jose Zalvadia, sorry if I butchered that name, his father was said to be from Catalina Island. And he reports that they were pretty much the same language, that people from the mainland and from Catalina Island, they spoke the same language. But he also made notes that there were other languages that were spoken on the islands. Okay, and there are also reports, I believe it was Kroeber, said that Catalineño, or the language of Catalina Island, was pure Gabrielino speech, while other reports are saying that they were widely different. So we're actually going to investigate that today. So other than just like this generic information or this general information about what it was like, what do we actually know about it? And what we do know about it was through Helen H. Roberts, who was an ethnomusicologist who was specifically interested in gathering songs that were from Catalina Island. And she met with an elder of the name Celestino Awaiu, and Awaiu is not a misspelling of Aguayo, but thus of his clan name, or where he comes from. He knew some of the songs that came from Catalina Island, and they worked together to work on recording them in 1926 onto wax cylinders. And these transcriptions of these songs, along with their translations, can be found in her book, Form and Primitive Music, which is where I got the transcription for one of the songs that we are just going to look at the text and compare if it's really close to the Gabrielino language or is it closer to other languages from the region. So here's a sample of a song called Song of the Canes, which was sung by Celestino in 1926. Okay, again, I know that this is blocking, but this is just an example of what in her book the transcription looks like, versus this is my transcription of it, using kind of a little bit more usable orthography. Okay, I try to keep it as close to her original one as possible while maintaining some of the features that that you would find if this was written down today, and incorporating some of the orthographies from Gabrielino, how they were Gabrielino, how they were Luiseño, etc. Okay, along with the translation of each word. Okay, so this is my interpretation. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some of these words and we're going to compare it to the languages of the region. So the word for west. So in the song, the word for west is labeled as Batyo. 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 Okay, well, in Garblino, it's Baime. Baime. In Serrano, it's Tumanum. In Lisenio, it's Bayom. Bayom. And in Korea, there's the closest thing I was able to find was to the west, and it's Kawika. Kawika. So if we look at this, it's actually the Catalina form is closest to the Lisenio form of the word west with Bayom. Okay, so in the Catalina Island language, Bayo, and Lisenio, Bayom. The word go, it's labeled as Kati. Kati. Okay. Where that X is that H sound. Kati. And in Gabrielino, it's me. Me. In Serrano, it's me. Me. In Lisenio, I found the word hatia. Hatia. Which doesn't mean just go, it means go and get. Which, again, this seems to be the closest form to the Catalina Island language. Hatia and hati. And in the Korea, the word for go is hicha. Hicha. Okay? So, hati and hatia. Those seem pretty close. So far, it seems like Lisenio, if we look back here, Lisenio is the closest form. And here, Lisenio is also the closest form. Here for the word for here, she reports as qua. Qua. And in Gabrielino, the word for here is equa. Equa. And in Serrano, Lisenio, and Korea, they're all eep. Eep. So here this time, the Gabrielino language is the closest. With Catalineño, it's qua, and with Gabrielino, it's equa. So we finally have some confirmation. Okay, we're getting closer to how close they actually are with the Gabrielino language. Okay, the word for walking. So, if you look in the transcription, let's just go back to that real quick. I wrote it as one word, moni nok, but here, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, right here in this like where it's about to fade. Sure, it's mon I no ok, like that. But I can't imagine it being written out like that. I can imagine it being moninok, like that. So that's why I wrote it as such. And that means walking. And being somewhat familiar with the Gabrielino language, I know that nok tends to be the end of like verbs. So yeah, moni nok for walking or walk. And in Gabrielino, it's nongi nok. Nongi nok. Okay. And in Serrano it's num. In Lisenio it's wakalia. And in Korea it's neki. So here, it's, of course, Gabrielino is the closest form to the Catalina form, but it seems like we have some consonant differences. This could be monginok, right, with a nga, monginok, and it's just a mishearing of this nga for na, moninok. But the M and N, so there could be some consonant, like little consonant differences right there. Okay, the word for ocean. Okay, so in the song, it's reported that the word for ocean is mohong. Mohong. Like that. Even if it's mohom, like that. In Gabrielino, the word is momat. Momat. In Serrano, it's mumt. Mumt. In Lisenio, it's momat. And in Korea, it's palmomat. Palmomat. Or I think I've also seen it just momat too. So if that's the case, then Gabrielino and Lisenio are kind of tied because it's the same word essentially with the Catalina form. So these two, Gabrielino and Lisenio, are tied for being the closest to the Catalina form. And the last one we're going to look at is heart. So it's reported that the word for heart is cojon. Cojon. Okay. And in Gabrielino, the word is shun. Shun. And if you notice, I put a hyphen in front of all of them. This is because a personal pronoun prefix has to be attached to the word. So I just gave all them in their like possessive states rather than their absolutive states, which in other words means their unpossessed form, just so we can all keep it at the same page. So shohon, heart, and then Gabrielino it's shun, in Serrano it's hun, and Lucenio it's shon, and in Kuya it's sun. Okay, so since the Catalina form has the sh in it, we can suspect, okay, well, which other ones have the sh in it? Well, this Gabrielino has shun, and Lucenio has shon. So they both have sh in it. So again, they are also tied for being similar. So what observations can we make? Because we can't say, it'd be wrong for me to say conclusion, because I'm not trying to prove that this one's closer to another. I'm just like to just look at it and just observe with my own eyes what I see and what we can compare it to. So based off this one song and just a little section we looked at, and just took out some words and compared them, it seems like the Catalineño language is not only close to the Gabrielino or Tongva language, but it seems that it's really pretty close to the Luceño language as well in some of the words. Of course, this is all just speculation on my part, just for funsies, but this is all we really have of this island language. It's again, there's not really words written down. It's these transcriptions of these songs that we have that are sung in this language. So these transcriptions of these songs is the only remnants of the actual language sung, spoken slash sung. If that's all we have, that's just what we can work with. But it's fun speculating, and yeah. So that's a glimpse of the indigenous language of Catalina Island. So hope you had fun. Just put down your thoughts below, and I'll see you next time.